Today's video is going to be how to install an intake spacer on your 4.6 liter 2-valve Mustang. Alright, so I got everything else straightened out in the car that I've been having problems with. And now I'm going to try to install this spacer in between the upper intake plenum and the throttle body. I went ahead and took out the 4 bolts that hold the throttle body onto the upper intake. The 4 bolts are back there. One's right here, one's right there as you see, and then back there, and then back right there. I got this UPR products, 2-valve 4.6 Mustang intake spacer. It has portholes for either gauge or nitrous if you want to run nitrous, or it has plugs to plug both holes, which is what I'm going to do for now. Basically what you're just trying to do is trying to allow the air a little bit extra time to cool down and raising everything up off the intake a little bit. This has been proven, dyno proven, to get about 6 horsepower on naturally aspirated cars and up to 20 on boosted cars. I went out, got 2 gaskets, one from one place, one from another, and as you see, they won't line up. It's too small. So I got some ultra black gasket maker. I also have some blue, but I'm going to use the ultra black. I like this one the best. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a coat around both sides of this to get a good seal on both sides when I go to put it all in. Since I can't find a gasket or anything like that. To be honest, I bought this intake spacer the same time I got the tires for the car, so I've been dying to put it on. I'm going to try to go to the track this Thursday, hopefully. It might rain with the cold front that's coming through, so we'll have to see on that. But if so, I want to be ready to go. It's Tuesday night, it's about midnight. After you put this on and everything with this gasket maker, you want to wait around 24 hours, which I probably won't wait 24 hours, but I'll wait pretty close. I'll wait until tomorrow evening to go ahead and start up the car and make sure that there's no air getting in and everything seems fine and okay and it's running good. And then that way we'll be ready for the track on Thursday if they run. Now I'm going to shoot for somewhere around a 13.5 hopefully. I'm not saying this is going to pick up 0.3 of a second. Since the last time I went out I did my personal best of a 13.8. But I still think even with that 13.8, how the car sits right now, before this spacer, I think there's still another 1/10 or 2 to be able to gain. So I think with this spacer and me still having some room to gain, I'm going to shoot for a 13.5 as my next goal. Just make it something simple. And then after that, obviously the next goal is going to be getting into the 12s. And I want to get into the 12s without really doing anything else to the motor. I want to maybe put in gears and a aluminum drive shaft and see where that takes us. That would definitely help out. If I don't get the gears and stuff by I think February or the end of January, the intake plenum that I want has been on back order and it should be ready beginning of next year, 2019. So I might go ahead and get that, and if so, then that would probably put me low 13s, and we just have to see if with that if I could break into the 12s. I don't know. But enough rambling on. I don't really want to have to disconnect everything since I just disconnected everything when I first got the car back in April to clean everything. So I'm going to try to just lift it up a little bit and slide this up and in there, and hopefully it'll go and it won't rub off too much of the gasket maker when I go to put it on there. Now you definitely want to try to get gaskets for this. I've looked around. No place around me has any gaskets for this, so that's why I'm going to use this gasket maker. Okay, so as you see I had to take off a couple more things and I didn't want to have to. The 2 hoses up front here, I just disconnected them real quick. Pretty simple and easy. And then the EGR, 2 10mm bolts holding it on. And then I actually completely forgot that right here is a gasket for it. So that's for the bottom part. So when you go ahead and slide this up and in there, just like so, and that's somewhat how it'll sit. So since there's a gasket on that bottom intake plenum, I'm going to just go ahead and put some gasket maker on the top just to seal up the top connection. You don't want any air getting in. I'm going to go ahead and put some gasket maker on this, and then that gasket for the EGR, I might just put a little dab on it just to make sure it's sealed up good. But that's a hard gasket, so you can reuse that. A paper gasket I would not recommend using. Okay, and as you see, I'm using a piece of wood to help holding up, so that way I have enough room to work, considering I'm doing this all by myself. So it's a little harder by yourself, but nevertheless it's manageable. I got the gasket maker on there. You don't need a whole lot, just enough to get a good seal. And then this kit comes with new hardware. And it comes with the plugs to plug in the hole. I just want to try to make sure that this is lined up before I drop it down in there. Alright, now I'm going to just go ahead, tighten them up. I might have to adjust the intake a little bit just to get a better angle on it and see how everything else lines up. Shouldn't be too bad because there's not that much of a gap. It's a ½ an inch. And you have a total of 3/4 of an inch before you hit the stock hood. So it shouldn't hit the hood. Now if you're using the gasket maker like I'm using, go ahead and get everything tight, but not real tight. Don't snug it down. Just get it, I would say, hand tight. Make sure it's sitting flush. Just like that. I got everything hand tightened over there. You're going to need to use the new hardware that they give you because the old ones are not going to be long enough with that spacer in there now. Everything seems pretty good. It was a little hard getting the EGR lined up. You can always loosen it up back here to try to help you a little bit. Mine is already pretty tight just from me putting on the headers, and it was a pretty tight fit. So far it looks okay. I'm going to let it dry for a little bit. I'm going to come back out and tighten everything back up, and I'm going to hit the bed since it's about 12:30. And then tomorrow I'll come out, start it up, give you guys a walk around, make sure everything's okay, and then we'll be good to go. See you tomorrow. Alright. So the other day, I took the car out after I got everything installed on it. And just driving around the street, you're not going to really be able to tell a whole lot of difference. You can maybe feel a little better throughout the response, but still, you're really not going to tell that much. I won't be able to tell how much it helped, if it helped at all, until I go to the track. I installed this on Wednesday, like I said previously in the video, and test and tune was Thursday after. By the time I got off work, I didn't really feel like going to test and tune. Sorry, that's my bad. My apologies. And then they had today, run day Sunday, but I had to work today because Thursday is Thanksgiving. Usually I do test and tune on Thursday, but with Thursday being Thanksgiving, they're not going to have test and tune. And because of that, I got to take Thursday off because nobody wants their pools cleaned on Thursday. So I went ahead and started my schedule today. So I really haven't had much time to do anything. I only had one day over the weekend, and I worked on the truck yesterday most of the day. I only took the car on a short drive, and while I was on the drive, I barely got out of my neighborhood when my battery light came on. I said, man, that was kind of weird. So I only drove it for a short little bit and came back home, turned the car off, tested the battery tested fine. I knew before I was having problems with the battery terminal connectors, so I went out and bought 2 new ones to see if maybe that would help the situation. Battery light's still on in the car. With the car off, battery checks out fine on my multimeter. With the car on, it is barely triggering the battery light to come on. The battery light's only going to come on if it drops down below 12, and it was reading 11.99 on my multimeter. So of course it's going to kick on. It reads 11.99 with the car running, and it reads like 12.2, 12.3 with the car off. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's probably the alternator. I'm going to do a couple more little tests, but I'm guessing it's the alternator. And I'm trying to save money right now for a little vacation I'm taking in 2 weeks, so I'm probably not going to get the alternator in the car. It's going to just sit here pretty much. I can still kind of drive around a little bit. I just don't want to risk it with the alternator not really functioning 100%. So we'll have to figure out something. I have a couple other videos that I've just had on the back burner in case I needed to edit and post it. So you might see one of those coming up in the near future. Sorry it's taking me so long to do this video. If you're a subscriber that watches all my videos. If you're not and you just clicked on this video to watch it, well, it doesn't concern you. But if you're new to the channel and you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button up above. Actually, it's down below. If you're new to the channel, check out some of my other videos. I really appreciate it. If you want to see more on the Mustang, stay tuned because there'll be more to come. And if you haven't seen, I have previous videos on the Mustang and my last video of me running a 13.8, which is pretty impressive for a 2-valve. That's how to install the UPR intake spacer. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.